The first thing I noticed that morning was the empty space. I stood in my driveway, keys in hand, just staring at where my car should have been. For a second, my brain tried to make sense of it. Maybe I parked somewhere else. Maybe I forgot. But no, that was my spot, my driveway. My car was gone. A cold wave of panic hit me. Did someone steal it? I muttered, pulling out my phone with shaky hands. Before I could even dial, I noticed something tucked under my door. A paper, of course. I picked it up and read the bold heading, HOA Enforcement Notice Vehicle Violation. My heart sank. Your vehicle has been towed due to expired registration in violation of community guidelines. I blinked once, twice. Then I laughed, but it wasn't real laughter. It was that kind of disbelief where your brain refuses to accept what you're reading expired. I whispered. I reached into my wallet, pulled out my registration card, and checked the date. Still valid, not even close to expiring. I looked back at the empty driveway, then at the paper again. They had towed my car from my own property for something that wasn't even true. That's when the anger kicked in. I called the number on the notice immediately. After a few rings, someone answered. HOA office, a bored voice said. You towed my car, I said, barely holding it together. It was parked in my driveway, and my registration is valid. Pause. Then, if it was towed, it was in violation. No, I snapped. It wasn't. I'm looking at the registration right now. Another pause. Then you can take it up with the towing company. Click. They hung up. I stared at my phone, stunned. No explanation, no apology, just not their problem. So I called the towing company. They confirmed they had my car. Yeah, Hoa requested it. The guy said casually, you can pick it up, but there's a release fee. How much? I asked. $300. I felt my chest tighten. $300. For towing my car out of my own driveway illegally? Sir, he said, clearly used to this, we just follow orders. Of course they did. I grabbed my documents, got a ride, and went to the impound lot. The place looked exactly how you'd expect: dusty, cramped rows of cars lined up like they'd all been dragged there against their will. When I got to my car, I checked it immediately. Scratches on the side, a small dent near the rear, my hands curled into fists. Are you serious? I muttered. I paid the fee because I had no choice and drove home, anger boiling over. But something about this didn't sit right. Not just the towing, the way the HOA brushed me off, the way the towing company didn't even question it. It felt routine, like this wasn't the first time, so I did something I probably wouldn't have done before. I started asking around. First neighbor I talked to, same story. Yeah, they towed my truck last month, he said. Said it hadn't moved in 48 hours. But had it? I asked. He shook his head. I drive it every day. Second neighbor. They fined me for parking violation even though I was in my own driveway. Third, my cousin visited for one night. Car got tagged within hours. That's when it hit me. This wasn't random. This was a pattern. That evening, I went through my HOA agreement, every clause, every rule, and there it was, clear as day. The HOA had no authority to tow vehicles from private driveways, only from shared or public spaces. I read it again just to be sure. They weren't just wrong, they were completely out of line. And suddenly, that $300 fee felt like the smallest part of the problem. The next morning, I took action. I printed everything: my valid registration, photos of my driveway, the HOA agreement, and the damage to my car. Then I emailed the HOA, not a complaint, a demand full reimbursement for towing damages and fees. And I didn't stop there. I CC'd a lawyer. I also did something else, something they definitely weren't expecting. I knocked on my neighbors' doors again, but this time I wasn't asking questions. I was gathering people. Within 2 days, I had 6 homeowners with nearly identical stories: illegal towing, false violations, unexplained fines. We compared documents. Every single one of us had proof. That's when we filed together a formal legal complaint, not just against the HOA, but against the towing company too. 3 days later, the HOA called me. Not a notice, not a warning, a call. Can we discuss a resolution? The same bored voice suddenly sounded very different. I smiled. Now you want to talk? Silence. Then we're willing to reimburse your towing fee. Not enough, I said. Pause. We can also cover minor damages. Still not enough. Another pause, longer this time. What exactly are you asking for? She finally said. I leaned back in my chair. Everything, I said calmly. Every dollar, for everyone involved. That's when her tone changed completely, because for the first time, they realized this wasn't just one homeowner anymore. It was a problem, a big one, and they had created it themselves.